I, 28F, have always lived in the shadow of my older sister, Vanessa, 32F. Growing up in a small Midwestern town, we were raised by our parents who valued achievement above all else. Dad was a high school principal, and Mom ran a successful local business. From an early age, they instilled in us the importance of excelling in everything we did. Vanessa took to this mentality like a fish to water. She was the golden child, captain of the debate team, valedictorian, and state champion in track and field. I still remember the day she broke the school record for the 400-meter dash. The entire town turned out to celebrate, and Dad beamed with pride as he presented her with the trophy. Meanwhile, I stood in the background, my own second-place medal feeling insignificant in comparison. Don't get me wrong, I wasn't a slouch. I was an honors student and played first-chair violin in the school orchestra. But somehow, my achievements always paled in comparison to Vanessa's. When I got accepted to a good state university, Vanessa had already received a full scholarship to an Ivy League school. When I landed my first internship at a local newspaper, Vanessa had secured a prestigious position at a national publication. Our childhood bedroom was a testament to this disparity. Vanessa's side was adorned with trophies, medals, and certificates. My side had a few modest academic awards and a participation trophy from a science fair. It was a constant reminder of the gap between us. As we grew older, the gap only widened. Vanessa breezed through college with top grades and immediately landed a job at a hot tech startup in Silicon Valley. I still remember the day she called home to announce her new job. Mom and Dad were ecstatic, talking about it for weeks to anyone who would listen. When I graduated a year later and started working at a small marketing firm in our hometown, their response was a tepid, "That's nice, dear." But the real issue wasn't just Vanessa's success, it was her attitude. Over the years, she developed a superiority complex, believing she could manipulate and use people for her benefit without consequences. I first noticed this change during her college years. She'd come home for holidays and brag about how she'd charmed her professors into giving her extensions or better grades. At the time, I admired her confidence, not realizing it was the beginning of a disturbing pattern. As Vanessa climbed the corporate ladder, her tactics became more cutthroat. She'd call me late at night, gloating about how she'd taken credit for a colleague's idea or manipulated her way onto a high-profile project. I remember one particular call where she laughed about sabotaging a coworker's presentation to make herself look better. When I expressed my disapproval, she dismissed me, saying, "That's just how the real world works, sis. You need to toughen up." Our arguments about her ethics became more frequent and heated over the years. I tried to reason with her, reminding her of the values our parents had instilled in us. But Vanessa would always counter with stories of her latest bonus or promotion, as if her success justified her actions. Our parents, unfortunately, enabled her behavior. They were so proud of Vanessa's achievements that they turned a blind eye to her methods. When I tried to voice my concerns, they accused me of being jealous. "Your sister is just playing the game," Dad would say. "Maybe if you were more like her, you'd be more successful." Those words stung, reinforcing the feeling that I would always be second best in their eyes. It created a rift between us that grew wider with each passing year. Things came to a head last year when Vanessa was promoted to a senior management position at her company. Our parents threw a lavish dinner party to celebrate, inviting family, friends, and relatives. As everyone raised a toast to Vanessa's success, she began regaling the table with stories of her corporate conquests. The final straw came when she bragged about a recent project. With a smirk, she described how she had taken credit for a junior colleague's work, leading to that person being overlooked for a raise. "The kid had some good ideas," she said, swirling her wine glass, "but he didn't know how to sell them. I did him a favor, really. Now he knows how the game is played." I couldn't hold back anymore. In front of everyone, I called her out on her unethical behavior. The room fell silent as I detailed years of manipulation and deceit. Vanessa's face flushed with anger, but she quickly composed herself. With a condescending laugh, she said, "Oh, come on. It's not like anyone will find out. Besides, that's how you get ahead in this industry. You'd know that if you ever left this little town." The party ended shortly after, with our parents ushering guests out while shooting me disappointed looks. That night, Mom and Dad berated me for embarrassing Vanessa and making a scene. "Why can't you just be happy for your sister?" Mom asked, her voice heavy with disappointment. I went to bed that night feeling like I was 15 again, always the disappointment, always in Vanessa's shadow. But I also felt the resolve growing within me. I was tired of watching Vanessa hurt people and get away with it. A week after the dinner, I received an email that would change everything. It was from someone named Liam, 27M, introducing himself as a colleague whose work Vanessa had stolen. Apparently, he had overheard Vanessa bragging about it at a company happy hour and had been trying to gather evidence ever since. Liam explained that he had stumbled upon my social media profile while researching Vanessa's background. He reached out to me as a last resort, hoping I might have some insight or evidence that could help improve Vanessa's misconduct. I was torn. On one hand, Vanessa was my sister, and exposing her could potentially ruin the career she had worked so hard to build. I thought about our childhood, the rare moments when we weren't competing, building sandcastles at the beach, staying up late to watch meteor showers. Despite everything, she was still my sister. On the other hand, her behavior was reprehensible, and Liam didn't deserve to have his hard work stolen. I thought about all the people Vanessa had stepped on to get where she was, all the times I had stayed silent to keep the peace. After much discussion, I decided to help Liam. I shared screenshots of text conversations where Vanessa had mentioned taking credit for others' work, as well as emails where she had outlined her strategies for getting ahead. I even had a voicemail where she boasted about manipulating her way onto a high-profile project. With this evidence, Liam was able to build a strong case against Vanessa. He presented it to the HR department, leading to an internal investigation. Vanessa was suspended pending the investigation's outcome. When Vanessa found out about my involvement, she was livid. She showed up at my apartment, something she hadn't done in years, her face red with anger. "How could you do this to me?" she screamed. "I'm your sister. You're supposed to have my back." I stood my ground, telling her that being family didn't mean I had to support her unethical behavior. She accused me of betraying her out of jealousy, saying I had always resented her success. As she stormed out, she vowed that she would never forgive me. Our parents were equally upset. They called me daily, alternating between guilt-tripping and angry tirades. Dad said I had ruined Vanessa's life over a little office politics. Mom cried about how I had torn the family apart. Their reactions made me question my decision, bringing back all the insecurities I had felt growing up. But despite the turmoil, I stand by my decision. I believe that success built on deceit and manipulation isn't true success at all. However, the fallout from this situation has been significant. I'm now estranged from my family, who see me as the villain in this story. So, Reddit, Ida for exposing my sister's manipulation and potentially ruining her career? Edit, wow, I didn't expect this post to blow up like it did. Thank you all for your comments and support. I'll try to respond to some questions and provide more context below. To address some common questions, 1. Yes, I did try to talk to Vanessa about her behavior multiple times over the years. She'd always dismissed my concerns or accused me of being envious. 2. I didn't go to HR directly because I don't work at her company. Liam reached out to me, and I provided him with the evidence I had. 3. No, I'm not in contact with Liam beyond our initial exchanges about Vanessa's misconduct. I'll post an update if there are any significant developments. Thanks again for your input, everyone. Update when it's been a whirlwind 3 months since my original post, and a lot has happened. I appreciate all the support and advice I received from this community. Here's where things stand now. The investigation into Vanessa's conduct at her company concluded about a month after my original post. The outcome was pretty much what you'd expect. Vanessa was fired from her position. The company found substantial evidence of not just the incident with Liam, but a pattern of unethical behavior spanning several years. When the news broke, our family was in chaos. Our parents were devastated, and initially, they blamed me entirely for Vanessa's downfall. They accused me of ruining her life out of jealousy and spite. It was a tough time, with a lot of angry phone calls and text messages. Mom left tearful voicemails daily, oscillating between begging me to fix things and berating me for destroying the family. I remember one particularly difficult call with Dad. He brought up a memory from our childhood, a science fair where Vanessa won first place and I came in third. "Remember how proud we all were that day?" he said, his voice heavy with emotion. "How did we go from that to this?" His words hit hard, making me question my actions all over again. Vanessa, predictably, was furious. She sent me a scathing email, calling me every name in the book and swearing that she'd never forgive me. She claimed I had destroyed her career and that she'd make sure I regretted it. The email was followed by a series of late-night phone calls where she alternated between raging at me and breaking down in tears. The stress of the situation began to take its toll on me. I started having trouble sleeping, plagued by memories of happier times with my family mixed with the harsh reality of our current situation. I threw myself into my work, trying to distract myself from the turmoil in my personal life. However, things took an unexpected turn about 2 weeks ago. I received a call from our younger cousin, Nicole, 24F, who works at a different branch of Vanessa's former company. Nicole and I had never been particularly close. She had always idolized Vanessa, seeing her as a role model for her own budding career in tech. Nicole revealed that Vanessa had approached her, asking for help in securing a position at her branch. Apparently, Vanessa had spun a tale about being unfairly dismissed due to office politics and a vengeful sibling, me. She painted herself as the victim of a smear campaign, downplaying her actions and emphasizing her past successes. Nicole, who had always looked up to Vanessa, was initially sympathetic. She shared how Vanessa had broken down during their conversation, talking about how hard she had worked to build her career and how unfair it was that it had all been taken away. Nicole admitted that she had been ready to do whatever she could to help Vanessa. However, Nicole became suspicious when Vanessa asked her to tweak some references and hide certain parts of her employment history. It reminded Nicole of an incident from her college days when Vanessa had visited her campus. Vanessa had pressured Nicole to let her edit Nicole's term paper, resulting in Nicole almost getting expelled for plagiarism. This memory made Nicole pause and decide to do some digging. What Nicole uncovered shocked her. Not only did she find out about Vanessa's dismissal, but she also discovered a trail of former colleagues and classmates who had similar stories of Vanessa's unethical behavior. It was a pattern that stretched back years, much further than even I had realized. Shaken by what she found, Nicole reached out to me for confirmation. It was the first time we had spoken in months. I told her the whole story, backing it up with the same evidence I had provided to Liam. Nicole was appalled, especially since Vanessa had tried to manipulate her into becoming an unwitting accomplice in her deception. This incident seems to have been a wake-up call for our family. Nicole shared the information with her parents, my aunt and uncle, who in turn spoke to our parents. Suddenly, the narrative of me being the jealous, spiteful sister began to crumble. Our parents, who had been staunchly defending Vanessa, were forced to confront the reality of her actions. They called me a few days ago, and it was one of the most difficult conversations of my life. Mom was in tears, apologizing for not believing me and for the hurtful things she had said. Dad was quieter, his voice heavy with regret as he acknowledged that they had enabled Vanessa's behavior over the years. They asked about the incidents I had mentioned in my original confrontation with Vanessa, wanting to know more details. As I recounted years of manipulative behavior, I could hear their shock and disappointment. It was a painful conversation, but also cathartic in a way. For the first time in years, I felt truly heard by my parents. As for Vanessa, she's gone radio silent since her attempt to manipulate Nicole backfired. Last I heard, she's struggling to find employment due to the circumstances of her dismissal from her previous job. Part of me feels guilty about this, remembering the sister I grew up with. But then I remind myself of all the people she hurt along the way, and I know that this is the consequence of her own actions. I'm still processing everything that's happened. While I stand by my decision, it's been emotionally taxing to see the fallout. The family dynamics I've known my entire life have been completely upended. I'm cautiously optimistic about rebuilding my relationship with our parents, but I know it will take time to heal the wounds of the past few months. I've started seeing a therapist to help me work through my feelings about the situation. It's been helpful to have an objective perspective and to learn coping strategies for dealing with the stress and guilt. I'm grateful for the support I've received here. Your comments and messages have helped me stay strong in my convictions during this challenging time. Many of you shared similar experiences with sibling rivalries and ethical dilemmas, and it's been comforting to know I'm not alone in facing these difficult situations. I'm not sure what the future holds for my family, but I'm hopeful that this can be a turning point for all of us. Perhaps, in time, we can build healthier relationships based on honesty and mutual respect. I'll update again if there are any significant developments. Thank you all again for your support and advice. Update 2. I hope you're all doing well. It's been another eventful few months since my last update, and I wanted to share the latest developments with you. The situation with Vanessa has taken some unexpected turns. About 2 months ago, I received a surprising email from her. Unlike her previous messages full of anger and blame, this one was different. Vanessa wrote that she had been doing a lot of self-reflection and had started to realize the harm her actions had caused. She explained that after months of failing to secure a new job, she had hit rock bottom. It was during this time that she began to understand the consequences of her past behavior. Vanessa wrote that she was genuinely sorry for her actions, not just towards me, but towards all the people she had hurt or taken advantage of over the years. I was skeptical at first, given our history. The email brought back memories of all the times Vanessa had manipulated situations to her advantage. I remembered the science fair in 8th grade when she convinced me to let her review my project the night before judging, only to find that she had incorporated my best ideas into her own presentation. Or the time in high school when she spread rumors about her main competition for valedictorian, causing the girl to lose focus and fall behind in classes. Despite my reservations, I decided to meet with Vanessa. We met at a small cafe in our hometown, a place we used to go for ice cream after school. Seeing Vanessa in person was shocking. Gone was the polished, confident woman I had grown accustomed to. Instead, she looked tired and humbled. During our conversation, Vanessa opened up about her struggles over the past few months. She talked about the shame she felt when former colleagues and friends cut ties with her. She described the moment she realized that her entire identity had been built around her career and achievements, and how lost she felt without them. What struck me most was when Vanessa brought up memories from our childhood, times when we were teammates rather than rivals. She recalled the summer we spent building a treehouse in our backyard, and how we worked together to convince our parents to let us get a dog. It was a side of our relationship I had almost forgotten existed. Vanessa's actions over the past couple of months have shown that she might be serious about changing. She's been volunteering at a local community center, helping young professionals with resume writing and interview skills. She's also enrolled in an ethics and business course at a nearby college. One particularly emotional moment came when Vanessa asked me to accompany her to a meeting with Liam, the colleague whose work she had stolen. She wanted to apologize in person for her actions. I was hesitant, but agreed to go for support. Watching Vanessa humble herself and take full responsibility for her actions was both uncomfortable and oddly inspiring. Liam was understandably cautious, but seemed to appreciate the gesture. Our parents have been cautiously supportive of Vanessa's efforts to turn her life around. They've encouraged her to make amends and rebuild her relationships, including the one with me. While I appreciate their support, I've made it clear that rebuilding trust will take time and consistent effort from Vanessa. Dad, in particular, has been making an effort to mend our relationship. He recently invited me to go fishing, something we haven't done together since I was a teenager. During our trip, he opened up about his own regrets, admitting that he had put too much pressure on both Vanessa and me to succeed. It was a difficult but healing conversation. As for me, I've had some positive developments in my own life. The experience of standing up to Vanessa and exposing her unethical behavior gave me a newfound confidence. I've since changed jobs and am now working for a nonprofit organization that focuses on promoting ethical business practices. It's challenging work, but I find it incredibly rewarding. My role involves conducting workshops for companies on creating ethical workplace cultures. Ironically, I often use anonymized versions of Vanessa's past behaviors as examples of what not to do. It's a strange feeling, turning our family's painful experience into a teaching tool, but it feels like I'm finally able to create something positive from the situation. Interestingly, I recently ran into Liam at a professional networking event. He thanked me again for my help and shared that he had been promoted at his company. We had a good conversation about the importance of integrity in the workplace. It was gratifying to see that standing up for what's right can have positive outcomes. While things are looking up, I'm still cautious. Vanessa's change of heart seems genuine, but I'm taking things one day at a time. We've had a few coffee meetings where we've talked openly about the past and our hopes for the future. It's been difficult but also cathartic. During one of these meetings, Vanessa brought up a memory from our high school days. She reminded me of a time when I stood up for a classmate who was being bullied, even though it made me unpopular with the cool crowd. I always admired your integrity, she admitted. I wish I had learned from your example instead of seeing it as a weakness. I'm not sure what the future holds for my relationship with Vanessa, but I'm hopeful that we can at least reach a place of mutual respect and understanding. The journey has been difficult, but it's also been an opportunity for growth and self-discovery. Thank you all for your continued support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement have been invaluable. I'll continue to update if there are any significant developments. Update 3. Hello everyone. It's been a year since my last update, and I wanted to share the latest chapter in this ongoing story. Vanessa's journey of self-improvement has continued over the past year. She completed her ethics course and has been working as a consultant for small businesses, helping them establish ethical practices. It's been a significant shift from her previous high-flying corporate career, but she seems more content now than I've seen her in years. Our relationship has slowly but steadily improved. We've had many long, sometimes difficult conversations about our past, our family dynamics, and our individual growth. While we may never be as close as some siblings, we've reached a place of mutual respect and understanding. One particularly memorable moment came about 3 months ago. Vanessa asked me to accompany her to her former company, where she had been invited to speak about ethical business practices as part of their corporate training program. Standing in the lobby of the building where she once reigned as a top executive, I could see the mix of emotions on her face: nostalgia, regret, and determination. As Vanessa spoke to her former colleagues, she was open about her past mistakes and what she had learned from them. She talked about the pressure to succeed at any cost and how it had warped her sense of right and wrong. It was a humbling experience for her, but also a powerful testament to how much she had grown. After her talk, several of her former co-workers approached her. Some to express their appreciation for her honesty, others to share their own struggles with ethical dilemmas in the workplace. It was clear that her story had resonated with many people in the room. Our parents have come a long way too. They've acknowledged their role in enabling Vanessa's past behavior and have been working on treating us more equally. Family dinners are no longer a source of stress but have become occasions for open, honest conversations. Last month, on Dad's 60th birthday, he gave a speech that brought tears to my eyes. He talked about how proud he was of both his daughters, not for our achievements, but for our character. He specifically mentioned how my stand for ethics had been a wake-up call for the whole family. It was a moment of validation I never expected to receive. As for me, I've continued my work at the nonprofit, recently leading a project to develop ethical guidelines for tech startups. The experience with Vanessa has shaped my career path in ways I never expected, and I'm grateful for the perspective it's given me. Liam and I have kept in touch. He's doing well in his career and has become an advocate for ethical practices within his company. We occasionally meet up to discuss our experiences and the changes we've observed in our respective workplaces. It's been rewarding to see how one act of standing up for what's right can create ripples of positive change. Looking back on this journey, I'm amazed at how much has changed. While exposing Vanessa's unethical behavior was one of the hardest decisions I've ever made, I believe it set off a chain of events that ultimately led to positive growth for all of us. The road hasn't always been easy. There are still moments of tension, old habits that creep back in. But we're all trying, and that's what matters. We're learning to communicate better, to support each other without enabling harmful behavior, and to value integrity over achievement. Thank you all for your support throughout this process. Your advice and encouragement have been a constant source of strength. While this chapter of our lives seems to be closing on a positive note, I know that maintaining ethical standards and healthy relationships requires ongoing effort. I'm committed to continuing this journey, both in my personal life and my career.